Good afternoon. We started the chapter, isn't it? Grishma, what's the name of the chapter?
Collection of data.
Collection of data. So we discussed two methods to collect data, isn't it, Sharath? Which are they?
Primary data and secondary data.
Yes, it's primary data and secondary data. Pavitra, what do you mean by primary data?
Collecting data information directly from a person.
Yes, if the data is collected directly from collected by the enumerator, the data collected directly, we call it as primary data. Directly by the enumerator, we call it as primary data. Then Aishwarya, what is secondary data?
When the data has been collected by some other agencies.
Yes. The data that have already collected is called as secondary data. The primary data is also called as raw data, and the secondary data is called as the processed data. Okay, because once it's already collected and it processed. So the secondary data is called as the processed data. So these are the major, what are the major difference between the primary data and secondary data? Primary data, it's collected directly. Secondary data, it's already collected data. Then the primary data are raw data. Secondary data are processed data. Then the primary data, the collection of primary data will take time consuming and very expensive. Okay. It is time consuming and expensive, but the secondary data will help us to save the time. When we are checking in the internet and collecting the data, it's so easy to get it. It is not too costly, or it is time saving also. But when we are directly doing it, it is time consuming. Then yesterday we discussed the three methods for collecting data, isn't it? Primary data can be collected using direct interview or personal interview, mailing questionnaires, and through telephonic interview. Then for all this, we need a questionnaire, isn't it? And I give an assignment that, do you remember it? What are the things we must consider while preparing a questionnaire? Okay, Andrew, any idea how to prepare a questionnaire? Any idea? Anybody? So the primary data can be collected by three methods. One is through first direct interview, or by mailing a questionnaire, or through telephonic interview. For all this, we need a questionnaire. How to prepare what all things or what are the precautions we must consider when preparing a questionnaire, or how to prepare a questionnaire? The first thing you should remember is that the questions should not be too long. Okay, if the questionnaire is too long, what will happen? For you also. If you get a too lengthy question paper, what is your attitude? Are you happy with that? Are you happy, Pavitra, if you get a too lengthy question paper?
No, ma'am.
Why? That means the questions should be in minimum number. If the questions are minimum, the people will answer to that. If it is a 2 or a 3 or 5 pages question paper, nobody is ready to read it. So when you are preparing a question paper, first you should keep in mind it should not be too low. Okay. The first important point we must consider while preparing a questionnaire is the question should not be too low. The number of questions should be a minimum. Only then, if the longer, the response will be very less. If it's a lengthy or question paper, the response is very less. So the question, it should not be too long. Second one is, the questions should be moved from a general question to a specific question. Question should move from a general question to a specific question. For example, suppose we are doing or preparing a questionnaire to know about the increasing electricity charges. Okay, whether the people are happy about, or what was the people's response, to know about the people's response about the increasing electricity charges. So when you are asking the question, don't ask first whether or are you supporting the increasing electricity charges. It should not be like that. First you can ask, is a power supply is there in your place, and in your locality is any problem in the power supply. So you must ask for some general questions. Okay, is it regularly you are getting the power supply, or if any problem is there, then you can come to the specific question. Are you justifying the increasing charges? Electricity charges are increasing. Are you happy with that, or do you agree with that? So always the question should be from a general question to a specific question. It's not from a specific. If you are asking first, are you happy with the increasing electricity charges? Then you cannot ask, what about the power supply? First, you must ask a general question, then come to the specific question. Okay. First point is, it should not be too long. If the questionnaire is too lengthy, response will be very less. Second one is, we should move from a general question to a specific question. First, we should ask a general question, then go to the specific question. Third one is, the question should be clear and precise. Don't use any tough words. Okay. If a person is reading the question, it should be understandable. Don't use any tough words in the question paper. It should be very clear and precise. For example, if I am asking a question, what percentage of your income do you like to spend on clothing for looking you very pretty? Can you say it's a clear question? Instead of that, we can ask, what percentage of your income you are spending for clothing? That much is enough. But if we are using too much words and making it too lengthy, it is not clear for the people. So every time when you are preparing a question, paper, remind the question should be precise and clear. Okay. Then don't use any ambiguous words. That means when reading the question itself, the people should get the answer. Don't use any tricky words or difficult words in your question paper. Then the question should not use double negatives. That is also very important. Don't ask a question like that. Okay. We are starting a questionnaire. The question will not be like that. Don't you like tea? You can ask, do you like tea? In a question paper, never use two negatives. Don't you think that? Never ask like that. You can ask, do you think? Then another is, the question should not be a leading question. That means the question should not include the answer. Suppose Grishma is conducting a question interview to a person, and if you need an answer, do you like this high quality tea? I am asking to Grishma, do you like this high quality tea? That means the question itself, how the high quality, no need for that. Do you like the tea? Okay, so never use such leading words in your question. And also the question should not indicate alternative to the answer. After your 12th, Grishma, do you like to go for BCom or BBA? there is an alternative is there. Either you will go for BCom or to BBA. The question will not be like that. After your 12th, what are you planning to do? Clear? So when you are preparing a questionnaire, you should remind all these points. What are they? The series of questions. It should not be too long. Then the series of questions should move from general question to a specific question. Then the question should be precise and clear. The question should not be ambiguous. Then the question should not use double negatives. And the question should not be a leading question. And also the question should not indicate alternative to answers. Clear? Clear? Okay, Pavitra, can you say what do you mean by the question should not use double negatives? Pavitra?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what do you mean by double negatives? Can you say an example for such a question using double negative? Such a simple question I am asking. Double negatives. Anybody? Nobody. Aishwarya, can you say what do you mean by double negative?
The question comes like, don't you like?
Yes, very good. If a question is including don't you like, never ask a question like that. Do you? Okay, then it should be too. It should not be too long means.
If too many questions come, the person who's answering it won't be interested in answering.
Yes, if the question is too lengthy, the response were very less. So the question should not be too long. Then the question should move from a general to a specific question. First you ask, if you want to know anything, first you ask a general question. Then come to the what question you need, come to that. Then the question should be clear. Don't use any tough words. Make it as much as easy and clear to a person. Then it should not be ambiguous. Don't use any too tough words or difficult words, or don't make them confused. When reading the question, don't make the people confused. And also don't try to avoid the double negatives, and also it should not be a leading question and not indicative and alternative to the answer. These are the main things we must consider when we are preparing a questionnaire. Okay. Then the questions are two types of questions were there. We are preparing a questionnaire. You can see that two types of questions are there. One is a close-ended question and the other is an open-ended question. Okay. There are two types of questions in a questionnaire. One is a closed-ended or a structured question, and the other is open-ended or an unstructured question. Amal, do you like tea? Two options were there, yes or no. What is your response?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. It's a structured or a closed question. Okay. Do you like a tea? If you I have two options only, yes or no, or it's a two-way options only. There are only two possible answers. It is a two-way question, and if it have more than two options, it is called a multiple choice question. Amal, do you like tea? Yes, somewhat, never, or something. If 3 or 4 options are there, it is a multiple choice question. And if there is only two options, yes or no, it is called as a two-way question. So the type of question, the first one is the close-ended or structured questions. It could be a two-way question or a multiple choice. The structured question may be a two-way question or a multiple choice question. Okay. The structured questions may be a two-way question or a multiple choice question. When there are only two possible answers, it is called a two-way question. If yes or no question. And when there are a possibility of more than two answers, it is a multiple choice question. That means you cannot choose an answer outside. What is given in the option, you must tick anything. A question to Abarna, how much rupees you are spending for books? Suppose it's less than 200, or 200 to 500, 500 to 800 and more than 800. Okay, so you cannot write any other answer. You can take that. That is a multiple choice question. So in a close-ended or a structured question, the question may be two ways. One is a two-way question or other is a multiple choice question. Clear? So in a closed-ended or a structured, that's a structured question. You cannot add anything. You just mark what is given there. So the closed-ended or a structured question means it could be a two-way question or a multiple choice question. When there are only two possible answers, it is called as a two-way question. And when there are possibility of more than two answers, it is called as a multiple choice question. Then coming to the open-ended or unstructured question. It is a descriptive type. Suppose I am asking to Anjo, what is your opinion about the current education system? Okay, what is your opinion about the current education system? That means it's a descriptive answer. There is no option. Instead of that, if I'm asking, are you supporting the current education system? Yes or no? It will become a closed-ended or a structured question. But what I asked, what is your opinion about? What is your opinion about the current education system? It is coming under the open-ended or unstructured question. That means it could be a descriptive type, and when a person get a chance to talk more about a topic, that is not limited. You have more freedom. You can express your views. It's not like a close-ended question. So when there are two types of questionnaires will be there. When you are preparing a questionnaire, you can see two types of questions. One is a close-ended or a structured question, and the other is open-ended or unstructured questions. Okay. The open-ended, it is so simple to remember, yes or no, a two-way or a multiple choice question is coming under the open-ended or a structured question. But unstructured means it include a lot of questions like what, when, how, where, why, who. All these are coming under a open-ended question. And a closed-ended, you remember yes or no or a multiple choice question. Okay? Clear? What is the difference between an open-ended or a structured question and a unstructured question, or closed-ended or structured question and open-ended or unstructured question? Any doubt? Any doubt? Annette, can you say any three things we must consider while preparing a questionnaire? We should remind three points when we are preparing a questionnaire.
Ma'am, the questionnaire shouldn't be too long.
Yes.
And the number of questions should be minimal.
Yes.
Then the questions should be clear and understandable.
Okay. Then, Amal Shaji?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you say any other point?
The question should not be.
Ah. When you are preparing a questionnaire, what all things you must consider?
Question should not be leading.
Ah,
Question.
yes. Question should not be a leading question.
Question should not be a double negative.
Yes. The question should not include a double negative. Then, Hadi,
Yes, ma'am.
which are the two different types of questions can be seen in a questionnaire?
Open-ended and
Okay. Open-ended and?
close-ended.
What do you mean by open-ended questions?
Like something we can describe a lot.
Closed means?
We'll have some options. It'll
Yes,
be
it's a
either
two-way
two-way
question
or
or
multiple choice
multiple
question.
choice question. So clear?
Yes.
Okay. Then we discussed about question, how to prepare the questionnaire and how to conduct a survey also. You remember that yesterday survey? What's the difference between a sample survey and a census survey and all? Then, which are the various methods to conduct a survey? There are three methods to conduct a survey. One is direct interview. The second is telephonic interview. And the last one is mailing questionnaire. Okay. Through three methods, we can we can collect the primary data either by direct interview. What do you mean by direct interview? Or a personal interview. That means we are directly coming in contact with you and asking the questions and marking the answers. Okay. That's a direct interview. Suppose if I am conducting a survey among the 11 standard students of Dr. Raju Davis International School, three methods I can adopt. One, I can meet all of you personally, I can collect the data. Or I can call you and I can collect the data. Or I can mail you through mobile SMS or through WhatsApp or by email and all. I can mail you the questionnaire and you can send me the answers. So there are three methods we can collect the data. One is, which are they? Personal interview. The next is telephonic interview and the other is mailing questionnaire. These are the three methods through which we can collect the primary data. Which are they, Annette?
Personal interview.
Personal interview.
Telephonic questioning. And
telephonic interview.
Then mailing questionnaire.
Yes. And through mailing questionnaire. So, you remember what is survey? Hanan, can you say what is a defined survey?
It's a method of gathering information from individuals.
From an individual. It's a method of gathering information from the individual, and it are two types we can conduct a survey, isn't it? Which are they?
Census survey and sample
Census survey and sample survey. Then census survey means in that survey, the entire population is included in the census survey. Can you say an example for a census survey? Who will say? Karthik, can you say an example for a census survey? Population survey, yes. The population survey is an example for the census survey. Now it will be there in 2011, it's over, then in 2021. Due to Corona and all, it will take a little time, but to all the houses, they will come and they will collect the data and they will enter it. To all of your house, the population survey, they will come for that. Okay. Then census survey. What are the advantage and disadvantage of the census survey? In a census survey, the results are very absolute and correct or accurate because we are taking the entire population. If we are considering, if we are doing a project or anything related to a topic, suppose among the students itself, if we are taking about based on our school or about our school or a common topic, demonetization. Okay, it's a topic, demonetization. If you are conducting a project on demonetization, if you are asking to the entire population, you will get a correct, accurate result. Their opinion, whether they are supporting or not. Then there is a less chance for biasness because we are asking the question to everyone. So we cannot come to a conclusion by our own. Based on the data, we are collecting it. And the data relate to each element. What all things we needed because we are collecting the each and everything. That is a census sample. So when we are census survey, the result should be absolutely correct. There is less chance for bias and also the data related to each elements are collected. But what are its disadvantages? It will take a lot of time. It is not easy to go to every person's house and collect the data. So it's a long procedure and also it is only suitable for conducting in a certain specific cases. In our country and all our population survey is conducted among the entire population. But it is not possible to do all the surveys like that. Then the large number of enumerators are required for collecting the data. It is too expensive. If we are going for a census method, it is too expensive because we need a large number of people to collect the data. It is not possible for a single person to collect the entire data. Okay. So what are the merits and demerits or advantage of disadvantage of census survey? What are the advantages? Who will read? Atul, can you read what are the advantages? Atul?
The results are correct. And the second one is there is
One
less. Yes,
a
ma'am.
bit louder.
Okay, ma'am. The results are very correct.
Okay, we will get a correct, okay.
And ma'am, I have a doubt actually about this word. It says less chance of biasness.
Biasness. That means
Biasness.
sometimes the answer is not bias. We get a correct. We cannot have, because we are asking to everybody and we are coming to the conclusion based on that data we collected. Okay. Otherwise, what happened? If you are using a sample, we will conduct only it among only a few people. So if Adul is doing a project and if you want an answer, yes. If you're doing a survey and if you need an answer, yes, you can select a sample accordingly. Okay, those who are supporting that, you can select the sample. But if you are conducting it among the entire population, it is not possible. That means a less chance for bias. We cannot be, as per our wish, we cannot do that.
Okay.
We have a biasness. We can do like that if it's a sample survey, but it cannot be done in a census survey because we are asking to entire population. But if it's a sample survey, it is possible because we can select the sample as per our wish also. Okay.
Okay.
Then what are the disadvantage? Anybody? Sharath, can you say a disadvantage of census survey? Where is Sharath?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. When you think you will get, no need for looking on these points. Okay, don't depend on these points. If you're thinking, you will get more and more answers. Because these all are, if you think you will get, what are the disadvantage of a census survey? It is time consuming. Okay.
Time. Yes, ma'am.
Time consuming. It need amount to spend a large amount of money for that.
And
also
Suitable
Then,
for certain specific cases.
it is only suitable for conducting some surveys. It is not possible for doing all the surveys like that. And also we need a large number of enumerators to collect the data. Then coming to the sample survey, first we should identify the sample. I told you we can, the sample survey, there is a different methods, random and non-random sampling is there to select the samples. And based on that, we are selecting the samples. Now you know that the corona test, rapid test is conducting based on the samples. Not entire population, we are not doing that. From different categories, few samples will be selecting and doing it. So what are the advantage of doing sample survey? First one is, it is very economical. Then it is not so time consuming and less effort is needed. So what are the advantages? It is very economical. It is not too time consuming and only less effort is needed. And what are its disadvantages? It will consider only a part of the universe. It is not easy to select a sample properly, and it is complicated process and a difficult process. If we are doing now the corona, you know, if the sample, if we are conducting only among a rapid test is conducting among the samples only. So there is a chance those who are not coming in the sample, maybe they also have, but we are not knowing about it. So it is not considering the whole population. So it have its own drawback. So what are the advantage? First one is, it is very economical. It is not time consuming and only less effort is needed. And what are the disadvantages? It's need a partial investigation of the universe. Only a few parts, only a few elements we are taking. And it is not easy to select a sample which represent the whole population. We cannot predict whether the sample is good or not. And also it is a complicated process, or it is a difficult process to select the sample. It is not so easy. Various statistical methods are there to collect the samples. In the future, if you are studying statistics as a main subject, you will study a lot of methods are there to collect the sample. Okay. So, any doubt in any topics? Anybody? So what all things we discussed, once again recollect it. Primary data, secondary data, then how to prepare a questionnaire, then census survey, sample survey, and the two types of questionnaire, open-ended questionnaire and close-ended questionnaires, or structured and unstructured questionnaires. Then census, sample, its merits and demerits, and also three methods how to collect the primary data. It's through mailing questionnaire, direct interview, and by telephonic interview. That I will take in the next class. Okay. In detail, we can go through that topic in the next class. Hope you understood. Any doubt? Anybody? Amal, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
If anybody have any doubt? Okay, thank you. We can see the next class. Okay, thank you.